Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a reading for Pisces. So Pisces, as usual, I'm doing this reading with my own tarot deck, so the cards that you'll see are from this deck. So Pisces, it seems like you have received an answer, information for something that you have asked for, but you're not opening the envelope. You're not really making a move to see what is the answer or what is the information, or it's like, what is the message. You're not hurrying up to receiving it, because I feel like there is this a little bit of discrepancy or distance from where you are and where you want to go a little bit. It requires a leap of faith. It requires this spreading of your wings. And it feels like maybe you're not believing that this is possible. Maybe you're not believing that it could be amazing, right? Or that the answer is much more than you expected. Maybe you are afraid of just receiving the full information, because we're beginning with this Knight of Swords. But the Knight of Swords, the way that it fell from the deck, it was facing down, and it took me a while to really want to turn this card over. And it was interesting because I didn't really understand why it wasn't really calling to me. And I feel like this is maybe you. It's like maybe you're not, because it's a little bit like your inbox, right? It's like you receiving like a notification that you received mail or email or a message, or there's something that is ringing up like in your mind, and it's kind of like giving you the sense of not knowing what to do. And when you are in that situation, it's like you're choosing not to do anything at first, right? Because it's like you're good where you are with the Five of Pentacles. And it's so gorgeous because the Five of Pentacles today is playing like double duty. It's talking about where you are, but also where you want to be. And it's almost like this information, it's going to give you kind of like the step-by-step instruction or guidebook, or what are the steps that you need to take basically to get to where you are. Because this is talking about the X on the map, but it's talking about the X on the map that it's like it's just showing where you are right now, but also where you want to go. And it seems like there is a little bit of an empty space or a gap between where you are and where you want to go, but you're not really sure that you want to know how to get there, because it's going to impact you emotionally. I want to say it's kind of like this gap between your mental well-being with the Knight of Swords and your emotional well-being with the Knight of Cups. So it's like both of these are where you're at and where you want to be almost. It's like maybe you have already achieved this balanced mental state. So it's like you have received like a little bit of information that helps you with coping with, mental anxiety, or just anxiety in general, or depression, or any type of mental disorder. It's like you just use it to just slow down your mind and not want to know more about the future, right? Because anxiety talks about wanting to be ahead of you in the future. But it's like your future self, in a sense, being represented here by the Knight of Cups. It's the emotional well-being. So it feels like where you are is a place of mental well-being. You are in a place where it's like your mind is no longer in control. That's the reason why you're not in a hurry to receive this information. But the emotional well-being is something that perhaps you are concerned a little bit about, because where you want to go, it's like it requires maybe this leap of faith. Maybe it requires like this courage to feel like, maybe the pain of leaving where you are and going to a new place, because you are being given, Pisces, I want to say, the Three of Pentacles is like the opening of this message. Finally, I feel like you get the courage. It's like you feel that it's going to be incredibly enriching for your emotional well-being, to take you where you want to go. And it's almost like to make this crossing, it's kind of like to unite both the mental well-being where you are right now and head to the emotional well-being on top of the mental well-being. So it's not losing the mental well-being, but is adding the emotional well-being with 3 steps. The 3 of Pentacles today is talking about like emotionally what you need to do. It's like, it's to just feel into how taking these 3 steps, it's going to create like your bodily sensation, because the 3 of Pentacles is talking about like a very practical action, a very practical, it's like you have to actually move, take these 3 steps. But how are you going to feel when you're taking each one of these 3 steps? Because what I'm seeing here, it's interesting because it's kind of like a kid's game. It's a children's fun stepping towards like their goal, or wanting to reach the end of the path. You know, I don't know the name of that game in English, but it's like one with chalk that kids draw on the streets, or you know, at school, I don't know. And you have to hop on the first square, and then with both feet, and then, you know, with 1, and then 2, and then 1. You know what I mean? If you know the name of the game, please just write down in the comments. In Portuguese, it's called amarelinha, jogo da amarelinha. I don't know how it's in English. So this is talking about, there are only 3 more steps. It feels like where you are right now, it's like this, it's like you're very close to where you're going next, right? Because it's like it's a little bit far removed if you dare to take those 3 steps, which feels like, you know, this first step, and then you're going to land with both feet. Because landing with both feet, here you see here, this is representing basically where you are, but also where you want to go, right? So it's like your present state of being, which I feel like you are in control a little bit more, a little bit more of your mind. But there is this desire to go somewhere else. And I feel like that's the thing. You have been asking about this other place. You have been asking maybe more information so that you can be certain, like mindfully certain about where to draw this next X. Because there's a lot of drawing. It's like, you know, here with the 3 of Pentacles, there is like this chalk on the floor or on the street, and here the 5 of Pentacles, there's also the X on. It's kind of like you're drawing as you go. The more that you advance, the more that you hop forward, in a sense. It's like you're going the next stage, the next landing, the next goal, the next place that you're going. Maybe this emotional well-being, right? This is the next house, the next box that you're going to tick, perhaps, or just land with both feet. And it's interesting because it's also wanting to emphasize the fact that it's like you're landing. The next one, you're landing. You see here how the 5 of Pentacles is inside the 7 of Pentacles, but there are these 2 Pentacles extra. So these are these 2. So this is the reason why I feel like you are not in a hurry. It's interesting, this has also been coming up for the collective specifically, but for you, Pisces, you're not in a hurry to receive news or information about the instructions. It feels very simple, right? It's like this 1, 2, 3 step. It's like it's no it's not a complicated, complex endeavor. It's not. It's like you're not so far away from this mental well-being to the emotional well-being. You're just 3 steps. But it's kind of like the 3 steps are really 2, because if we think of this one as being like 1, and then these 2 feet landing on the next 2 houses, the next 2 boxes, it's like there you are. It's like you achieve more than you thought you were supposed to, right? Because maybe you thought that, and maybe this is part of also the instruction, right? It's like maybe what you expected is that you would land on another Five of Pentacles, let's say. And you know, if we think of the Five of Pentacles, because to me it also brings the image and the message of integrity, right? Self-integrity. If you thought that the next step was to work on this integrity, but not from the mental perspective, but rather from the emotional perspective, I feel like you receive, it's kind of like an upgrade, but a very not a modest, but like you see the difference between the 5 and the 7. It's like there are just 2 more pentacles, so it's not that much of a difference, but there is a difference, right? So it's good that you wait to receive the instructions, right? Because I feel like it is more simple than you imagine, but it's also different. It's not what you imagine. I hope that makes sense, because it's not exactly what you were wanting to know. Maybe it's even easier than you were anticipating, because it's like it's stretching the 5 of Pentacles. So instead of going to the next place and landing kind of like in the same environment, it's like you're stretching out, you see? It's like you're opening up the range of possibilities around you, practically speaking, right? So this is like this new landing. It's like the moment that you take these 3 steps, which are really 2, you realize that you have grown a little bit more, that you have amplified like your ability to like see yourself in the world, or find this self-integrity, but maybe with more resources, right? If we think about the 7 of Pentacles as assessment, like making this assessment, it's like you're going to realize that when you look around, it's not just about you and yourself and your body and your integrity. There is more, and it's like what is more there to be explored, which is, you know, perhaps requiring a little bit of this emotional leap of faith, right? It's like for you to work out this emotional well-being, it's like you need to stretch beyond the known, beyond where you are right now. It's not like this, it's adding to what you have already received from where you are right now. I hope that makes sense. So you're going to another place which feels similar, but it's adding stuff, right? And you're able to assess that and see how you are like increasing your range of possibilities, of opportunities, of like ability to deal with more stuff, right? Like be present. This is also talking about being present mentally at first, like specifically like being very mindful about where you are. But when that is done and you receive news that the next steps are here and you're ready, it's like the next steps are going to address your emotional well-being. And because of that, because you have, you know, excelled in this, it's like now you're ready to spread your wings, right? With the Empress. So these are your wings spreading, but there's a huge leap. If we think of the 7 of Pentacles as something manageable, as something that it's tangible to the point that it's like it's not going to overwhelm your integrity, or it's not going to require too much of like this stretching out. The Empress, on the other hand, it is. So this is where I feel like it really surprises you, because like the instruction only gives you the 3 steps, like the next moves, the immediate moves. But where you're landing with these next, you know, the next step, the next hop, it's actually serving as a launch pad for, it's kind of like butterfly wings. So it's like you're opening your wings. This is how I'm seeing. And because it's almost like the next step, it's not like a normal, like solid ground. It's kind of like a trampoline or something that it's malleable, right? So you have like this bouncing up and down. So, and that's a reason why, you know, this piece of information that you didn't, you know, care too much to open before, but now that you did, it's like it's taking you the next step, and it's actually, it's other than this, right? Is beyond this, is wider than the Five of Pentacles. So this was kind of like solid and expected because it is where you are, it is where you've been. The Seven of Pentacles, it's a different landing house or space or like box, right, on the ground, let's say. So the Empress, it's almost like this is the only thing that you can do, right? It's like because now you're bouncing up and it's like you're being launched, essentially, Pisces. It's like you just realize that you can fly. And when you do, it's almost like you're taking this flight for the first time, and it's such a huge leap that you didn't anticipate because you thought that you were just taking these simple steps, but it's like where you landed was giving you the propulsion, is that the right word? It's like it's propelling you to take a bigger flight, going towards the sun. And when I saw the sun, it's almost like that story. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, but in Portuguese, it's called Ícaro. The story of Ícaro, I don't know, Icarus, I don't know what the name, but it's like like a man that wanted to fly, and so he created wings made of, what is the name of that thing? What are candles made of? Wax, right? So he created these wax wings, but the closer he was getting to the sun, the more the wax was melting. And so eventually there was like this landing spot for that character, that story, that he ended up falling. But I feel like this is what you're afraid that will happen, right? So maybe this is you anticipating how can you keep this mental and emotional well-being undergoing such a huge leap, because it is like you are getting closer to the sun, right? And it's like you have never used your wings essentially, so but now you're being propelled to use it, and it's almost like there is no other option. It's like you're being obligated in a sense to use your wings so that you can sense like this closer presence to the sun. And maybe there is like, that butterfly in your stomach. It's like, the butterfly wings, and now the butterflies are in your stomach. And it's almost like maybe you don't realize that it's the same you, it's the same integrity, but it's like it's where you place your focus, right? It's like here the focus is in your wings. You're just, discovering that these wings were there all along. It's just that now you're learning how to fly with them. But then when you realize that the sun is getting closer and closer because you're going higher and higher, it's like your focus, like your butterfly focus, changes from the wings to the butterflies in your stomach. You see what I mean? So there's a little bit of this overwhelming feeling, and that is also talking about like how do you regulate your emotions when you are undergoing such a huge leap. And I feel like this could be like part of the challenge, and that's the reason why you're being given like such simple instructions at first, because this is not meant to overwhelm you, but it's meant to co-create something that is tangible, right? Talking about the Three of Pentacles, like this very solid co-creation, but it's like, it's kind of like a co-creation with the sun. It's interesting what I'm hearing is like co-creating with God, right? But God as the sun, it's like the God sun the God, like, how ancient cultures, they used to worship the sun as a god. It's kind of like that. So it's like you're about to co-create with the sun, but if you knew that all along or from the beginning, it's like maybe you wouldn't dare to open your wings and fly because you would be afraid of getting too close. But it's like if you don't know that part, and I feel like you're consciously not wanting to look at it until the last minute, or until it's like that you are very integral, right? It's like very well established, very present, very mindful, and then that you can take this leap going towards this emotional well-being process, right? Of taking a bigger flight, just going higher and flying higher. And yes, reaching the sun, but knowing that you can regulate your emotions so that you don't lose the attention like on your wings. It's like just keep on believing that you can fly, right? It's like don't look too much at the sun. It's like you're not like that character on the story that I just told. It's like your wings are not made of wax. It's like your wings are so organically part of you that they are an extension of your heart, of your soul, of your spirit, right? So that's the reason why you're going higher and higher and higher. So that's interesting. And if there is a little bit of fear, right, about like how are you going to deal with all of this, I feel like the best thing to say from what I'm seeing here for you, Pisces, is that it can be very simple, right? So follow the instructions. Like don't neglect the instructions. It's like they're here and they're being given in a way that it's very practical, so that you have like this guidance in a sense. And when it happens, you'll see, right? But knowing what it's here, knowing that you don't have to worry about getting closer to the sun and that would eventually bring you down, right? So it's almost like reaching stardom, right? Or like reaching fame or reaching success or reaching glory, however you want to see the sun, like co-creating with God. It's even more significant than the fact that this could be like a very visible position, right? Because you're going to fly higher, right? So, but it's like, don't fear that from where you are right now. It's like, take the leap. And while you're flying, just realize that there could be a moment where emotionally you will need to self-regulate in mid-air, right? So it's like, it's not like you're going to land so that you can regulate again. It's like you can do this in mid-flight, right? So Pisces, I am going to pull more cards for you as well as the astrological runes in the extended reading. So if you want to join me there, I'll be very happy to see you. You can find the link down below. If not, see you next time. Okay, bye.